Hello, and welcome to episode 58 of the Law Firm Marketing Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Small, and today we are here to talk about dealing with mistakes the right way. But before we get to that, let's just talk about what's going on with life, right? First things first, I'm about to have another baby. May 15th is the big day, so we're about 4 days away. Having a baby is a big deal. Having two is even bigger. My other kid's about 18 months old. So, stuff is about to get real and my time is about to get greatly diminished. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about having a kid is because, for at least the next 2 weeks, maybe longer if I want, I can work where I want and when I want. Obviously, if I have court, I have to go. But for the most part, I can make my own hours. I can fit the work in where I need to, and I can do what I want when I want. That's the beauty of owning the firm. You don't have anybody, breathing down your neck trying to get you to come back earlier. You don't have anybody breathing down your neck if you need to go to a doctor's appointment or if you need to take a kid to daycare or something like that. And for me, time freedom with my family is one of the big things about owning a law firm that I really like. And it's one of the things that motivates me to, do those things that I need to do when I don't really want to do them. So what else? I'm on a huge Breaking Bad bender right now too. If you haven't watched Breaking Bad, you should totally watch it. It's great. A lot of entrepreneurial lessons in there as opposed to just being generally entertaining. I've just started season 4 and it's amazing. So if you got Netflix, go watch it. Also, just wanted to give you kind of an update on Law Firm Confidential. That's the membership site that I set up to kind of give a more in-depth look into how to start and run a successful law firm. And I'm excited for that because we just finished up Module 1. Module 1 is really the foundations of starting a law firm. It's a lot of business foundations. It's a lot of mindset foundations. It's a lot of the things that you need to have thought about before you actually open up. At least I think that's what you should think about before. And a lot of the lessons that I teach in there, a lot of the things I talk about really will give you a basic business plan moving forward once they're done. So I'm really excited to be done with that. We're getting into Module 2 right now, which is the how-to aspects of starting and building a successful law firm. What I'm really doing, I've decided, is I'm going to act like I'm starting a new firm. And I'm just going to go step by step the things that I would do in the order that I would do to open, run, start, market a new law firm. And so members of Law Firm Confidential are going to get a step-by-step through that. So, if you're interested, you think you might want some information in the future, go to lawfirmmarketingmastery.com/confidential, and you can get on a special list there that will keep you up to date with opportunities to get into that. It's awesome. It's been a great group so far. We got a very active forum, and I think people are really enjoying it. Okay, another thing that I did, I just put together a new very short report on my top 5 lead generation resources that you can get for free by going to the homepage, lawfirmmarketingmastery.com, and signing up. It's right there. Boom. Can't miss it. If you're already getting emails from me, there's no need to go sign up again. I'm going to send out a link in the email about this specific podcast that actually talks about it. So just check your email and it should be in there. Okay, now on to the content. If you recall last week in episode 57, I talked about dealing with haters and trolls. Those people that don't know you and haven't used your service but are talking trash on you or your firm anyway. I don't like those haters, man. I don't like those trolls. I don't like the people that are out there trying to mess up what I'm trying to do. But I wanna make sure that everyone understands that when you do this, when you open your firm, when you start to see some success, you are going to have to live with some of these people. It's just a fact of life. And it's actually a sign that I think that you're doing something good. if there's somebody that's not a little put off, I guess, by what you're doing, or someone that's not exactly happy with what you're doing, then you're not doing it right, because you can't please everyone. And one message that's geared towards someone is probably going to make someone else feel uncomfortable. So that's okay. Understand that you're out there to serve your target market, and at times that will make other people uneasy, and that's okay. You just have to deal with it. Okay, but today I want to talk to you about the times when you get a bad review, or you get that phone call where you actually did mess something up or fail to meet expectations with the client, and what you can do to fix the current problem at hand and then avoid that problem in the future. Okay. These are the problems that we actually create that we now have to deal with. And I guess that's step one, is that you'll see that you actually do have to deal with it. Don't wrap it under the covers. Don't push it aside. Deal with it. We're going to get to that. Before that, I want to talk to you a little bit about a time that's happened to me, because it's happened to everyone. And for me, there was an incident that I can remember specifically where we had a guy hire us, and he hired us for two separate criminal matters. They were both in the same court, and actually they were in different courts. They were relatively minor matters, but I think for whatever reason there was a miscommunication in the paperwork that we thought was getting filed actually did not get filed. So this guy ended up missing a court date. He ended up having a warrant issued for his arrest, and obviously he called us, and he wasn't happy when he found out that the warrant was out there. Now I'm gonna tell you how the story progressed as we go through it, but I'll let you know up front that the warrant. If you're a criminal defense attorney, then you know that the warrant being issued for like a misdemeanor or something is not a big deal. It's something that can be easily taken care of. But it was pretty frustrating for our client, and it obviously certainly wasn't something that we wanted to have him experience. So it was in my book, at least, it was a fail. Right? We didn't do what we promised, and then we had to fix it. So step one. So the way that we found out was, he called us and he said, "Hey, I just got this voicemail from the court, and the court told me that I missed my court date and I have a warrant out for my arrest." And we were like, "Oh shit!" So we needed to check on that. So we checked on that. We found out what the problem was. That we had filed paperwork on one case, that we hadn't filed the paperwork on the other case, that we thought we had. There was a miscommunication between the attorney that was on the case and our administrative staff, so that nothing got filed. All right. So this leads me into step one. When the person calls and they're pissed, and this is actually a step above what I have, but step one is do not get defensive. Okay, when the person calls and they're angry and they are frustrated, the last thing that you want to do is start placing blame or getting defensive, trying to cover your ass right away. That's the last thing you don't want to do. Okay? What you want to try to do is talk to the person, figure out exactly what's going on in their mind, figure out exactly where they're coming from, figure out exactly what the problem is, and then move on to step two. Step two is ask for time to investigate the issue. And in parentheses, I wrote, and calm down, right? And give time for the other person to calm down too. The last thing that you want to do is get into some heated debate when you don't know all the facts, when you haven't had time to think about what the potential solutions are, and just jump to something that is going to just make the situation worse. So step two is to ask for time to investigate the issue. Step number three, as you might imagine, is to actually investigate the issue. In my case, I brought the attorney that was taking care of the matter into my office. I brought the administrative staff person into my office, and I said, tell me what happened. And so they explained the situation. I said, okay, this is how we're going to solve the problem. These are the steps that we're going to take. And then I went to step 4, which was to acknowledge the problem. I told them to put this client on the phone with me, even though it wasn't my case. I was the boss. So I am the one that gets to, experience the joy of victory and the agony of defeat, right? So that means that the buck stops with me. So I got on the phone with this guy. I acknowledged the problem with him. I moved on to this next step, which is apologize. I apologize to him for our failure to, provide the level of service that we strive to provide. And I just took whole blame for it. I said, look, we messed up. It's something that happened. It doesn't happen often. And I really apologize. And we're going to do everything that we can to fix the problem. And that is number 6. Then very shortly after that, or actually while all this was going on, we moved on to step number 6, which was to actually fix the problem. So we took care of the warrant. There was a bail situation. I talked to the bail bondsman, got them to waive any fees that would be associated with the problem, got a new court date, got the guy a good deal, took care of him all the way out from there, and that was that. All right, problem solved. The client was relatively happy. Obviously, he wasn't happy about the whole situation in general, but at the end of the day, it all worked out well. Our communication with him was top notch. I think having someone acknowledge that a mistake was made and then actually go fix the mistake is something that you don't always experience out there in the real world. So that when someone does experience that, it's a bit of a breath of fresh air, kind of takes people aback and makes things a lot smoother moving forward. So that's what we did. Now, this is the point where most people stop and they just move on with life as if nothing ever happened, or they scold you would scold the attorney, you would scold the administrative staff person, tell them not to have this happen again, blah blah blah, and move on. But that's not what we do at my firm, and that's what I hope that you don't do in your firm. And this is a marketing lesson, this is a leadership lesson, this is a customer service lesson, all wrapped into one, right? Because for me, I'm not satisfied with just putting out a fire, right? I want to be like Smokey the Bear. Okay, I don't want to be a firefighter. I want to be Smokey the Bear. I want to be in the fire prevention business. I want to prevent fires before they begin. All right. So in my firm, there are a couple more steps that occur after the problem happens to help prevent the problem in the future. So step number 7 is I sit back, sometimes by myself, sometimes I'll bring the people in that were the firsthand part of the problem, and I will analyze the reason for the problem. Right? Was the problem a process gone awry in our firm? Are we missing steps? Did someone not follow the process correctly? Was it a communication error at the client attorney level or at the administrative staff person client level? Where did the breakdown occur, and why did this breakdown occur? Right? That's step 1, is figuring out why everything happened. And at this point, you're not judging. It's not about blame. No one's in trouble anymore. It's about, let's figure out what happened so that we can fix it, right? Which is the next step. The next step is to adjust the processes and procedures, or the communication or lack thereof, so that the problem doesn't happen again. And typically the conversation that I'll have with the attorney, with the staff person, with whoever was involved, goes something like that. I'll say, look, this was a problem. We have analyzed and fixed the problem, hopefully, and I'm certain, I'm confident that this problem will never happen again. Do you agree with me? And they say yes. I do it like that because they understand what their expectations are. They understand that these problems are not welcome at the firm, but they also understand that once a mistake is made, it's acknowledged, it's analyzed, it's fixed, and we move on. We don't hold grudges. We don't do anything like that. All right, we start with a clean slate, so long as the same problem never happens again. All right, and then the next thing that I'll do to take it even one step further is I will bring it up at our team meeting when everyone is there. The problem like this typically doesn't involve all the staff. Typically doesn't involve, my business partner or other people that were there that work at the firm. And I'll bring it up. And typically the way that I do it is I won't call people out specifically for making the problem. I will just explain what happened. I'll talk about the problem. I'll talk about the solutions that we have. And I will talk about what the new processes and procedures are, if there are any. I'll talk about what we need to do to communicate better. And then I will hold everyone accountable for making sure that the problem doesn't happen again. And that's part of the fire prevention business. You use one problem or one mistake as a learning experience for everyone at the firm, including myself, because I make mistakes too. Everyone messes up. So this is a way for all of us to really get better as a group by working on the mistakes that we make as individuals. And I hope that you're doing that in the firm too. I do it everywhere in life, and I hope you're doing that too in your life, because there are always opportunities to learn from other people, see what they're doing, take what you like, leave what you don't, and make yourself better. All right. So that, I think, is it for the day. It's going to be kind of a short one. Looks like we're right at about 16 minutes. Before we go, I want to, again, thank you for your time and thank you for listening. If you have questions, you can always email me, chris@lawfirmmarketingmastery.com. If you have a topic that you want to hear about, that's a great place to let me know about it. I do have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Law Firm Marketing Mastery. You can find me on Twitter @CMS Law Firm. And again, if you want to get some more information from me, you can get my 5 top lead generation resources. You can go just to the homepage, lawfirmmarketingmastery.com. You can find that. And you'll also be able to get information about my membership site and a whole bunch of other cool stuff too. So I hope you have a great week. I hope you don't have to implement any of these lessons. I hope that your firm is doing well and not making any mistakes. And I think that's it for the day. So take care, and I will talk to you next week.